A former WWE star has signed and debuted with AEW. Plus, we're going to talk about Raw on Netflix, some major returns, some changes. Triple H revealed a ton of information in a new podcast, and we're going to talk about it right here on the Ango Show. All right, guys, just a quick reminder. If you didn't know, we are back with the live post shows. And immediately after Raw on Netflix on January 6th, I will be live with special guests to discuss WWE Raw on Netflix. And it's going to be tons of late night fun. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Can't wait to see you there. I want to kick things off with some AEW news really briefly. JoJo Offerman is now in AEW doing ring announcing duties. And this has generated a ton of conversation on social media, largely due to wrestling fans just being pretty damn dumb, because a lot of people, for some reason, are under the impression that JoJo Offerman and Samantha Irvin are the same people, but they are not. They are not the same person, which makes this really, really weird. And I can't believe fans didn't know the difference. And I think that is just very telling of wrestling fans. But photos circulated. Obviously, JoJo was doing ring announcing at AEW Collision. And listen, I'm just happy to see her back. If you guys don't know who she is, she used to do ring announcing for WWE. And then many people knew about her because of her relationship with Bray Wyatt. A lot of people thought JoJo would have some sort of exclusivity with WWE. Some people thought maybe she would return to WWE. That's not the case. And I have zero problem with this whatsoever. If JoJo wants to work AEW, TNA, WWE, if she wants to work professional boxing, if she wants to work anywhere, it doesn't really matter. I don't think that matters at all. I don't know why wrestling fans are making a big deal out of this. I think the tribalism and the loyalty to a company thing is really ridiculous. WWE already has ring announcers. It's not like they need more ring announcers. AEW is obviously making changes on that aspect, which is completely fine. I think having a new voice for Ring of Honor, for AEW Collision, for AEW Dynamite, it is the right strategy. She's a great ring announcer. I don't think there's really any reason to be upset with this. But it was really, really telling. If you look at many of the replies on social media, a lot of people thought she was Samantha Irvin, which is just absolutely ridiculous. And that kind of tells you everything you need to know about wrestling fans being reactionary to things they are not knowledgeable about. But of course, this is leading to a ton of conversation. Ango's point of view, my point of view. Okay, very simple. She's a great ring announcer. Have no problem with where she goes. And if she's with AEW long term, that's great. If she's with WWE at long term, that's great. I think for what she's gone through, it doesn't really matter where she's going. I just think it's a good thing overall. And for AEW, I'm glad to see AEW is trying to switch it up a little bit with ring announcing and commentators and stuff like that. I encourage more change. It keeps the product a little bit more fresh, and a lot of companies can benefit from that. That brings us to our next topic, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to talk about some things regarding Raw on Netflix. Before we get to the returns, we got to discuss some of the things that are being said about Raw on Netflix. And largely, this is due to the fact that Triple H has confirmed that Raw isn't necessarily 3 hours. On how long the show will be, he did this interview with Jimmy Traina from the Sports Illustrated Media podcast, and he says it will be flexible. It will be flexible, and I don't necessarily know the time constraints of network television or cable television apply. It is slightly a different platform. Much like many episodic shows, they have the ability to do whatever the show needs to have down. If this episode needs to be an hour, great, it's an hour. If the next episode needs to be 42 minutes, it's 42 minutes. It's what makes for the best product. I'm not saying we're going to be 42 minutes, but clearly we'll deliver the product in a way that is best for Netflix and their business model and best for our storytelling. He says there is the idea of having averages as well. He believes that the perfect showtime is somewhere in the 2.5 hour range. I don't want to get too deep into that, but I do think basically what Triple H is confirming here, if I'm coming off of my own impression based on the podcast, it's largely that WWE doesn't necessarily have a hard time out, meaning WWE, if they are going to do 3 hour episodes of Raw, they are completely fine with that. But if WWE Raw ends at 2 hours and 45 minutes, that's completely fine as well. If WWE needs a little bit of extra time to end a segment, then we might see them go over 3 hours. I actually like this. I'm not going to lie. I like this for a big reason. We have seen the issue where sometimes WWE SmackDown would be on Fox, and sometimes there would be issues with time cues and things would run, and then SmackDown would end because of Fox, and it would feel rushed, and it would feel incomplete, and it would feel weird. WWE won't have that issue moving forward with Netflix by doing this. And I also think WWE can become very unpredictable because sometimes what you would see in WWE, right? This is a big thing, is that the main event starts at 10:50 and there's 10 minutes left. And you know that within 10 minutes, there might be a DQ, there might be some sort of odd finish, there might be a run in, there might be something that happens. And you could kind of tell, hey, at 10:50, we are getting very, very close to the end of the show. What's really cool about this is that makes it less predictable, meaning literally anything can happen in the final minutes of the show, which I think just makes for a better product. I'm super excited to see how they go about this. What was also very interesting is Triple H even admitted that there was a chance that Monday Night Raw would have been moved to another night, which was rumored at one point that Netflix and Raw could have potentially moved the night. But obviously they decided not to do that. I think that's a good decision. What will be very interesting is during, maybe certain times of the year, if they want to move the episode of Raw to a different night, can they do that? And technically with Netflix, they can. So that'll be very interesting to see what happens. And that brings us to the final returns. Ladies and gentlemen, The Rock has confirmed on Instagram that he will, in fact, be at the Raw on Netflix premiere, basically giving the middle finger to Dave Meltzer, because Dave Meltzer has pretty much been saying The Rock is not factored into WWE plans. The Rock is not going to be at WrestleMania. A lot of people have joined in on this conversation that The Rock won't be there. The Rock is expected to be at Raw on Netflix. He's confirmed this himself. He says that he is doing this for his family and for his culture. He has officially confirmed that Raw on Netflix will be dedicated to his grandfather, the High Chief Peter Maivia, his grandmother, Leah Maivia, and his dad, Rocky Solomon Johnson, and all of his ancestors who paved the way. This is going to be massive. The Rock obviously coming back. We're going to get an idea for what he is setting up. And what's actually even better is the fact that we do know Chris Featherstone has come out and confirmed that The Rock is slated to have a promo segment. As you guys know, WWE is treating this as the official start to road to WrestleMania, which makes it even better. What's even crazier, though, is that there is some talks that WWE is bringing in Hulk Hogan. Fightful Select has reported that Hogan has been discussed for some upcoming appearances with the company. There has been no word on specific dates. Chris Featherstone has come out and said that Hulk Hogan is expected to be at Raw on Netflix with a promo segment as well. However, what gets even crazier is that WWE does have more plans and surprises that nobody knows about at this current time, which then leads us to something very interesting, which is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Chris Featherstone came out and said, hey, Stone Cold Steve Austin was, they've scripted him in, but those plans have been canceled. So WWE has many surprises, many returns planned. Right now, we know that The Rock and Hulk Hogan are expected to be there. I'm not a big fan of Hulk Hogan, never have been, even as a kid, never was. That's pretty well documented on the channel, but I'm bringing it up largely due to the fact that he is expected to be there. They are going all out with this. Very excited to see what Raw on Netflix does. And guys, don't forget, it's important. We'll be live immediately right after. So if you guys like professional wrestling and you guys like talking about it, become a member, get access to some emotes and everything you need. Let's have a great 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Ango Show.
Turn it up, the Ango Show, here we go. Rumor mill spin, every little sin. What's the new fallout? Who took a route out? Fans scream loud, make the show proud. Backstage drama, full of armor. Who's the charmer? Tag teams break dreams, plots.